northeast. Remember, this is a confirmed tornado that we are tracking here, and we want to make sure that you are heeding this early warning and headed to your safe spot. Folks back here in Ashland City, that storm has passed by you now over to Bellsong. It's passed by you. So let's do that big view one more time, because I want to give some folks the all clear here, because we promised we would do that. So you can see that we've got our line right through here. If you're in Clarksville, my goodness, you've had enough for one day. The storms have passed you by at this point. The same goes up here in Hopkinsville, and then we can see back over to Paris, that line pushing westward over to Jackson. All of that area back through here into West Tennessee and along that Tennessee River. You can see how it's coming on through, and it's passed you by at this point. But let's get a little closer here. If you're in Linden, it looks like you're going to see the next batch that's going to come on through over to Hohenwald. You're in line to get that, and then it'll continue to move on towards the east. Now, as we look a little farther off to the north, and by the way, there's a severe thunderstorm warning for that line, so you are going to see some more of that stormy weather. But it's a little farther north that we're seeing the worst of the weather, right up through here. That flashing that you see, you've still got some rain in Ashland City, but you are no longer in the threat of the tornado, so you are good to come out of your safe spot if you're in Ashland City. That has moved on east of you, and right now it is just south of Whites Creek that we're seeing that rotation right now. And did you have something, Stefano, to add?
Yeah, we just got something in from Springfield, the emergency management director. This is 17th Avenue and Memorial and Black Patch and Memorial Avenue. There are reports of massive structural damage, multiple injuries, and rescues going on right now. So that's Springfield, 17th Avenue and Memorial, and Black Patch and Memorial. We have reports of massive structure damage, people trapped and people injured. That's coming from the EMA director in that area. So I'll say it one more time. Springfield, 17th Avenue, Memorial, Black Patch and Memorial, reports of structure damage and people trapped in their homes. So, and one of the problems, Lisa, that Cruz and I were discussing was we're getting into a nocturnal situation now. The sun is getting ready to set, so this becomes a harder and more dangerous situation without any daylight to help us see, anything that's coming our way.
That's a really good time for us to remind folks, please don't go outside and look for this storm. It is getting dark. These are typically rain-wrapped storms. I mean, you can put the reflectivity back on there for us, Cruz. And they're typically rain-wrapped. Look at all this rain around this. You're not going to be able to look out and say, oh, there it is. It's going to be harder to see now that the sun is setting, and we're going to have a tough time with these. So just don't take that secondary look out there to make sure this is really a tornado. Trust us. We want you to notice that here on the radar, we are seeing the signature of a tornado. We've already had it come through Springfield. You've heard that report from Stefano. So please take this precaution. If you are here in Cross Plains, make sure that you are in your safe place. I am not one that typically is alarming person. You know that if you've been watching me for years here. But we want you to take this very, very seriously. This is Cross Plains right here. That storm is almost on top of you at this point as it's moving towards the east, northeast, and continuing on through here into your county, into Robertson County. And eventually, heads up folks here in Portland, if this holds together, it looks like you could be the next in line for this storm to impact your weather there. And here is an update on where we are seeing these storms. We've got it over to East Robertson County right now at the high school. Cross Plains, 437. What time is it? It's 4:35. It's a couple of minutes away from you. Portland High School, 4:53. Chestnut Grove, 4:53. Mitchellville, 4:54. Portland at 4:54. So if you are in these areas, please make sure that you are taking those precautions. I mean, Stefano just popped it up here. Actually, that screw is over there. Just pop this up here. This is the debris ball that we were seeing just a second ago, and it looked like we could see, yeah, some of this debris being lofted into the air. That's anything that this tornado has brought up from the ground. It's being detected here on radar. So what you do is you look for anything that doesn't look like the others, and that's what we're seeing here, these yellow spots that very well could be some debris from this storm that is just off to the west of Cross Plains and moving on towards the east right now. Some of the roadways, Cedar Grove Road, Guthrie Road, State 25, State Route 25, and over to around, I believe that's Callista Road there that I've seen correctly, and Malloy to South Road. Any of these that I'm calling out, this is going to continue to move. Hey, we are looking right now at the Briley Parkway, Eaton's Creek Road for what looks like This is over in northwest Nashville, which could be some circulation.
I mean, traffic has come to a complete stall in that area. We've seen so much heavy rain come down in this spot, and also the wind as well. I mean, somehow the people in the other lanes are making their way through, but you can see on the left side of the screen that traffic is stopped. I mean, that's how powerful the wind is. They're trying to truck along here, but this is the same cell you were tracking, Lisa, and it's something that we are, very serious about. Like you've been saying, it's confirmed. It's already had some history of some damage, like we talked about in Springfield, and we'll need to watch it closely.
All right, you can see where it is right now on the radar. We've got this notch indicating that circulation through there where that storm is rotating right there just southwest of Whites Creek. And this is where the notch is. And anytime we see that and then we match it up here with the reds and the greens, that is where that rotation is. And this has been a confirmed tornado that is moving across. It may lift up from time to time, but we have had confirmation that it is on the ground. That's why we want to make sure you're headed into that safe spot right now. We want to take this seriously. It is moving into Davidson County, moving across, headed to Nashville. Folks there in Parkwood Estates, over to Bellshower. If you're in Avondale, if you're in the Madison area, please make sure you are hunkered down in your safe spot right now as this storm is moving in your direction. And you can see where it is in response to downtown Nashville. It's a little bit farther off to the north and tracking on towards the east northeast. We've got folks there in Hunters Lane High School. 4:41 is the estimated arrival time. Good Pasture Christian School at 4:42, Madison 4:44, over to Hendersonville at 4:53, and continuing to the high school there at 4:54, to Greenlawn at 4:57, and Cedar Grove 5 o'clock is the estimated arrival time. Station Camp High School at 5:01, and Mount Juliet High School 5:03. So we are giving you a good little time here to make sure you're headed to the storm shelter or a safe spot in your home as the storm is moving in your direction. This flashing light that you see here, this purple shading, that is a particularly dangerous situation, and for us that means there is confirmation that we do indeed have a tornado as this warning was issued, and we've been tracking it ever since as it's moved on towards the east. Cruz?
Well, it actually looks like it's been extended just recently here. So this warning is now going to go until 5:15, and we could actually see this completely make it out of Davidson County if it holds together and move into areas like southern Sumner County. It could move into far eastern or far western portions of Wilson County if it holds together as well. So just giving you a heads up down the line. I know we just called out some of these names, but if you look off to the east of where the storm is at, it's over here near Whites Creek. We've got Hendersonville down the line, Goodlettsville. This could go between you and Madison. Gallatin, if this holds on, this could potentially move into that part of Sumner County. So we want to give you the heads up. We don't want you to have to prepare at the last minute. You could go ahead and be in your safe place right now. You can live stream us on the free WSMV4 First Alert weather app. If you have any digital streaming, Amazon, all of the major streaming platforms, you can stream us up there. And take us into your safe place. That way you don't have to sit in front of the TV. But if you can't do that, you can also just turn the volume up to your TV. We're going to stay right here with you on WSMV4. You could just make sure you have the volume up. That way you know what's coming in your direction. Let's check back in with this northernmost tornado warning right now. So this is now going to push out of Robertson County here, I'd say within the next 20 minutes. And that's going to put it into western Sumner County. I'm still seeing the flashing of this. This goes until 5 p.m. And I want to show you where the rotation is at within this storm. So this one we know was confirmed. It moved through Springfield, and you can see it now past Cross Plains. It's actually just to the north. The rotation here, maybe not as impressive as what I saw just a few scans ago, but there's definitely still rotation. So it's right where you have these greens and reds touching each other. That's where you're going to have at least some broad rotation. But once again, this is confirmed, so we know that it's still on the ground. Unless we hear otherwise, we're going to treat it that way. So you need to be in your safe place. This is going to be for folks off to the east of Cross Plains. Actually, I'm going to do a storm track real quick and see if Stefano will help me out here with some of these communities. So this particular storm's moving off to the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. And here are some of the communities that are in the path.
So the time is 4:41. Portland High School at 4:51. It's Mitchellville at 4:52. Portland at 4:53. And Brackentown at 5:05. And the reason I was standing here, Cruz, is this image here. It was I-24. It was near Briley Parkway. I mean, the wind that was just whipping through those areas. And if you guys can hear me in the control room, I mean, any of the traffic cameras in those areas are going to give us a view of just how intense this storm actually is. So this is one of them that we're tracking. With that rotation, it's still tight enough here that this storm still has a lot of good spin to it. It could very well be on the ground at this point as we get it out for a little bit of a bigger view and go a little farther south. This is still, I think, the main area of concern. This storm that's right near Whites Creek, it's near Madison, just to the south of Goodlettsville as we get a little bit better view here from First Alert Live radar. What's happening here is this storm is working its way to the east, so we're thinking Hendersonville next. What Cruz just drew right near Madison, that notch that you're seeing in there, that's a really good indication of the inflow of this thunderstorm. So what's happening is the strong inflow in the updraft in that storm is lifting the rotation and making it more vertical, and that's where you get these intense wind speeds that Cruz is showing. I mean, we've seen gate-to-gate shear between 120 to 130 miles per hour with some of these storms, and it looks like we could, see even more than that right now. Look at that, 120 miles per hour. What you're doing, you're taking those two numbers and putting them together, showing that that storm is really packing some dangerous wind speed. It's near Belshire. It's heading near Edenwood as well. Hendersonville will be next as this continues to move east, but it is going to go, it looks like, just to the north of Madison. If you live near Madison, in and around that area, you need to be getting into your safe space immediately as Cruz goes ahead and throws another track on this for us. Very important that you know where this storm is going and when. So the time is 4:43. Hunters Lane High School, we have no more time anymore. You have to get to your safe space immediately. Madison at 4:47. Lakewood at 4:53. I'll say it again. The time now is 4:43. So 4:53 in Lakewood the next 10 minutes. Hendersonville High School at 4:55. The same thing in Greenlawn at 4:58. Cedar Grove at around 5:01. You start getting outside that warning zone here. But actually with the new warning, it's including areas like Gallatin and LaGuardo. So that's just kind of showing what the National Weather Service thinks these storms are going to do. These have been long-track tornadoes that have been confirmed on the ground. We saw the one that went through Montgomery County and Clarksville and then all the way up through parts of southern Kentucky. This one that's moving through Davidson County is the main focus right now. We also have this additional confirmed tornado that's up near the Portland area, so getting into parts of Sumner County like Cruz was talking about. But Madison, Hendersonville, Gallatin, just to the north of downtown Nashville. But I will say this, even though we haven't seen a lot in Nashville, at least as of now, other than maybe just some rain and some rumbles of thunder, there's still more behind all of this. So there's still storms back in Dixon, Kingston Springs. We're getting into a time now where the sun is getting ready to set and go down. So these severe thunderstorm warnings that are still on the back side of this, they're still going to have the capability back in Dixon County, through Humphreys County, all the way down through Centerville as well. They'll still have the capability of not only keeping their strength, but still spinning up. That's been the theme that what we've been seeing as these storms move into this very unstable environment here in the Midstate. They're gaining strength, they're gaining spin, and that's when they're dropping tornadoes. Right now, right smack dab through Davidson County. Looks like it'll go just north of Nashville. We have a confirmed tornado on the ground. It'll head toward Hendersonville, but we also need to watch this line. That's back in southwest middle Tennessee. Severe thunderstorm warnings right now from Savannah, Linden, just to the south of Waverly. So a heads up in spots like Lawrenceburg and Columbia. All of that will work its way to the east, and we'll see what those storms end up doing and how they're strengthening. Right now, the only thing I'm really seeing in the way of these storms, the mountains and the Cumberland Plateau. Once it hits those, they should start to fall apart, but right now, there's nothing in the path of these storms to slow them down.
I-65 Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, we can see a tornado. If we can get that up, I-65 Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, we can actually see the tornado moving across. We can get that camera up. We have it here that we're looking at in the Weather Center. If we can take a look. No, that's not the one. It's I-65 at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, and we can see it here. Mile marker 95, and it's just about to move out of this window. Please, if you are in that area, mile marker 95, if you know where that is on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, we are seeing a tornado on the ground that is crossing the interstate there. And here we go up towards Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. and it's mile marker 95. This is the storm right through here, and you can see it coming right in there. It just moved off the corner of that, so if we can track it to the next camera, we might be able to do that if we can see it. You guys are looking there from your perspective there, if they may be turning it too, so we can see it. But here is the storm right through here.
It's coming into frame now.
All right, and let's go on and show the radar too while we're doing that.
Lisa, I would go full screen. It's on there right now.
Okay, let's take a look at it then. What we're looking at here, this is the tornado that we are watching, tracking it across. It is. Can you see it right there? And I'll point it out to you. It's right here in the middle of your screen. If you can pop me in, I can show folks there where it is. I mean, take me full screen over this. I mean, you can see it right in the middle of that picture, right in the middle, and it's right through here on our radar. So you can take that full screen one more time. This is the tornado that we're seeing. Please, if you're in this area, make sure that you are taking precautions there into your safe place. We can show you this video later if you want to see it, but if you're in that area, just make sure you are right now.
Yeah.
What was that?
You can see power flashes.
Yes.
I just saw some transformers blow up.
Yes, we can see the power flashes as the storm is moving across. This tornado, a confirmed tornado, we're seeing it right here on this camera. Now, if you're in the areas, it's going to continue to move. I want to remind you, please don't go out and try to see this. We will have video of this to show you later. Please go on and head to your safe spot at this point, because this is rain wrapped. You may not be able to see it very well from where you are if you look outside. So we want you in that safe spot. That is putting as many walls as between the storm and you as possible as it is moving across and tracking through. Just to remind you where we're looking at where I-65 is, right there at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, and this is what we're seeing here with our winds so close together right now, the reds and the greens. This is where that tornado is located right now, and we're tracking it here on our camera too as well, on that track it camera. Let's get a little bit closer in here, crew, so folks can see where this is right now. And I'm going to get over here so I can see these names for you. That is near North Hill Estates. Also, we're looking at it around Power Plant Road, Overbrook Circle. If you know these areas, Center Point Road, Rockland Road, River Road, Rockland, Highland Acres, those areas that we're naming off, and look how close that is to Hendersonville. We want you to take those precautions in your safe place right now, headed around Maple Grove. These are the areas that right now we are watching very, very carefully. This is a confirmed tornado. We are seeing it on camera here. All this is moving towards the east, northeast right now. That's going to be headed over to Hendersonville at 4:54, the high school at 4:55, Station Camp High School at 5:02, Gallatin at 5:09, LaGuardo at 5:09, Gallatin at 5:11. Remember where you need to be right now. If you're in that area, get to a safe spot, storm shelter if you have it, or you'll want to go to the lowest level in your home. That could be a bathroom. That could be a closet. Just stay away from the windows and get down as low as you can. This is an incredible storm that we're seeing right here. Look at that notch on this storm. That is where the tornado is likely rotating right through here as it's moving towards you. If you are in Hendersonville, you need to head right there to your safe spot at this point. Not a good time to look to see if you can see this storm. It's getting dark outside, it's rain wrapped out there, and you're not going to be able to find it if you're looking for it just with your naked eye. This is your confirmation right here. We were showing it on our traffic camera there just a few moments ago. So it is headed towards you if you are in Hendersonville. This is a very dangerous situation with this storms. We've already had several tornadoes today in Springfield, in Clarksville, that have done so much destruction. And we know this next storm is headed right now into Hendersonville as we speak, and continuing to move on towards the northeast. So we want to get a heads up there to folks in Gallatin, as you would be next in line. It will come at least to some of these southern communities of Gallatin as it continues to move on towards the northeast right now. So just resetting once again, this is a tornado that we have seen on camera that is moving, if you are in Hendersonville, moving in your direction right now as we speak. And we can even get a little closer again, just just to give you another perspective of this, if you're in Hendersonville, hopefully you have our app and you can watch us. The WSMV4 app is the best to use. You can watch us here and we'll keep you updated as this storm is getting closer to you. If you're in your closet or your safe space, Cedar Grove, Rockland are the communities that are next in line. Meadowvale, Oakvale, Hendersonville. You can see right there Maple Road Estates. All these are communities or neighborhoods that are in the line of the storm. It is on top of you right now in Rockland. If some of these roads sound familiar to you, please, it's near you, Harbor Drive. And also we're looking over to folks there who might be in the Freehill Road area and Overbrook Circle. It's really on top of that little area right now, as we can see right through here. Let's check our debris ball and see if we have even another indication of this storm. And this is what we're looking at right through there.
It's a bit ambiguous.
Yes.
It looks like it, with the rotation, Lisa, there is something lining up, but something you have to consider here is how close we are to the radar now.
We are.
The closer you get, it gets very pixelated if you're too close. So that can kind of mess with things, make it a bit ambiguous, but we can tell you, we're seeing the rotation. This is lining up perfectly with what looks like could be debris right there on Power Plant Road. This is going to move right over Rockland. This is not something you want to chance. You don't want to take this lightly. We need you in your safe place like right now. Hendersonville, a heads up to you. If you live anywhere near Highway 31 East, that's a north-south running highway that I could see here. This is actually moving in your direction at this time. So I should say east-west moving highway. We've also got Cherokee Road down the way. We've got Maple Road Boulevard, East Main Street, Volunteer Drive, Oakville, Noakes Heights, Hendersonville High School. These are all communities. You cannot chance this. You don't have time to waste anymore. We need you in your safe place right now. And we're going to remind you just where that is really quickly. So this is going to be on the first floor of your home in an interior room. You don't want any windows near you. Cover yourself. Put blankets, pillows on. If you have a helmet, or you could put helmet on your kids, you could put shoes on. These are all things that would be helpful in this situation. But guys, listen to my voice. Lisa was just saying this earlier. We don't freak out. We're not trying to freak you out. We are trying to speak urgency into this situation. This is not something to play around with. We just saw that tornado moving through quite literally on one of the Tennessee SmartWay cameras, and we still see this rotation. I mean, this is holding up very good. So it's where you have these greens and reds up against each other right over Oakville and Noakes Heights. This is going to be just to the north of Hendersonville. I mean, Hendersonville, this is essentially right on top of you at this time, and man, not a good signature that we're seeing here with this particular storm moving through Davidson.
Yeah, just to add, crews, to what we're hearing from folks out there, there are cars flipped on I-65. There are cars flipped on I-65 as this tornado came across the interstate, and of course now making its way into Hendersonville at this point, and continuing on that track is going to take it towards the east northeast. So just advice, if you were planning on driving up in this general direction, please don't. Please stay put, especially if you're farther south, because now we are being impacted in many ways from this storm as it tracks on towards the east northeast. And right now in Hendersonville, headed over towards the high school in Noakes Heights. If that is your neighborhood, 31E, right on over to Oakville, Maple Drive North, Lake Club Estates, the Maples, Scottish Highlands. All these are neighborhoods that are out ahead of this system. This is where it's headed next as it continues to move towards the east northeast right now. A very dangerous situation because we know we have confirmation of a tornado here. We saw it on camera, and we are getting reports of already damage with cars flipped on I-65 with this storm as it continues to track towards the east northeast. We're going to give you a new update on where it is headed next. These are the estimated arrival times as this storm continues to move on this path at this rate of speed. Hendersonville High School, it is right on you at this point. Station Camp High School 507, Gallatin High School 516, 518 for downtown Gallatin. So right now our clock is reading just minutes before 5 o'clock. So you just have about 15-20 minutes if you're in some of these communities to get to your safe spot. Plenty of time for you to get there. If you're in the Gallatin area, please go on and take that precaution as this storm is going to be getting so much closer to you. Let's do a reset here, a quick pull out so we can show other folks, if you don't mind there, just a second, because I know there's other things going on here and we just want folks to know that we're watching them as well. So just a quick pull out here to see where we've got other situations. Right up here to the north, we continue to have warnings here north of you with this cell that is east of Franklin. So make sure you're in your safe spot as well. We don't see as rotation as well defined in this spot, but that is very close to you if you're in Portland. So please keep that in mind. You're under a tornado warning there as well. Make sure you're in your safe spot too as this storm is moving into your general area. And then, of course, we have the storm here, but also tracking on down, you can see other storms down to the south, all the way down here in the southwest corner of the Midstate. Please make sure you're staying weather aware here. We're popping up warnings on the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to get that information there. And then it's just heading towards the Home Wall area. Also, Lawrenceburg, you're going to see this move into your area too. I just wanted to make sure that you knew we were tracking what's going on in your area as well. Now let's take this back up where we do have this particularly dangerous situation, as we know we have a tornado on the ground here very close to you if you are in Hendersonville. What we're seeing here is, look at this, these are so tight, so close together. We might can pop on some wind speeds there too, just to let you know what the gate-to-gate shear is, which tells us the intensity of the storm. Wow, 150 miles right through here. So this is a very dangerous situation with this storm on the ground moving toward the northeast, and we see it here. That is where that tornado is right now. So if you are in some of these communities, you want to make sure Saundersville, Bluegrass Meadows, Lake Club Estates, that is where this tornado is right now. And it's going to be moving almost parallel there with Nashville Pike, very close, crossing over some of these other roads too. See if we can identify some of those. Look at that notch in this storm. That is really telling us exactly where that tornado is located. Kind of a classic hook is what we're seeing here with this tornado as it moves through the Hendersonville area and continues to move towards the east, northeast right now. Really just a heads up to anybody out ahead of this. Make sure you're in your safe spot at this point, lowest level, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This is your early warning if you're over here around the Gallatin area, and even points eastward from there. Want to make sure you are headed to your safe spot there at Castellian Springs as well. Anyone that's along 231, the northern part of 231, you can see it right over there. That's where this is going to be headed next. Now we're dropping down again, getting these storm wind speeds for you and checking right here where that storm is, Saundersville into the Bluegrass Meadows area right now. And this is what we're seeing with our winds well over 100 miles an hour with this storm right now. So we're talking about a tornado on the ground, incredible winds. And remember, what tornadoes do is they're like vacuums, and they rotate around and they unfortunately tear things up, suck them up inside of them. And all that flying debris is how so many people get hurt. But that's also another way that we can detect where that radar is. Now, we are pretty close to the radar site, but we might be able to check here on our First Alert Live radar real quickly to see if we see that debris ball any more well-defined than we did a little earlier. This is our debris detector, and I know we are close proximity, which makes it a little harder to define, but you can see it right through there, and we know we've seen that tornado as well. It is 5 o'clock. We want to give a little reset here with our radar to show people what's going on here. We have a line of storms that is moving across the Midstate and actually moving pretty close to the time we estimated it would be coming right here into Nashville and continuing to press towards the east right now. We have a huge severe thunderstorm warning you can see here that extends from the Tennessee River eastward. And then here we have a tornado warning that does include folks up here in Sumner County. And we have seen the tornado come across I-65 at Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Now it is continuing to track towards the east. So now we can drop back down. And also we had another tornado warning that was a little bit farther to the north here. Seeing that is just been allowed to expire. Looks like there might be another piece. Is that also another warning that I'm seeing up there in southern sections of? in southern Kentucky, and we've still got the warning there as that storm moves just east of you in Franklin in Kentucky. Now let's get back to this storm, a particularly dangerous situation that we're seeing with this storm here.
A tornado emergency, and we do not see those very often at all. This is the second one of the day, to my knowledge. The first one came in from the northwest. Stefano and Melanie were covering that one, but this one, man, it's not letting up. We're talking still tight rotation. You can see this little hook feature on the radar. Sometimes when you get too close, it's a little hard to tell where the strongest rotation is at, but we've got a telltale sign here with that little hook, that appendage there. That's showing us exactly what the winds are doing in that storm, and with this being more of a supercell type thunderstorm, we could even be seeing some hail on the northern side of this. So a heads up to you folks in Ocana and Paytona, Gallatin. You folks could possibly see some hail in those areas, and then we're watching the rotation a little farther south.
It's an extremely dangerous situation. The National Weather Service is calling it a catastrophic situation. Just to give you an idea of what's been happening with these storms they've been coming through. So this goes back to when we were talking earlier in Springfield at 17th Avenue and Memorial, and Black Patch and Memorial as well. That's where we had a lot of structural damage. I can report, though, there was no loss of life, which of course is wonderful to hear. Minor injuries, but a lot of structural damage. People have been rescued from their homes, and we could very well be seeing almost the same exact thing ahead of this storm. So this is the main thing that we're tracking right now on First Alert Live radar. If you live in Gallatin, Trousdale, right along Nashville Pike, so this storm is following directly along Nashville Pike. Let me go ahead and turn off the lightning here, just so we don't have too much on the screen in front of you. So Nashville Pike, Noah Lane, Tulip Poplar Drive, it looks like as well, Lock 4 Park Road, all of these areas are under this. I mean, south of Station Camp High School, there's Patonia as well. Just going, I mean, barely go to our south, if not impact us right in this area. Remember, if you are in the path of this storm, you need to be getting into your safe space immediately. You need to make sure that you are in the proper location. The best place to be, obviously, is going to be the lowest level of your home. A basement's going to be best. If you do not have a basement, you want to go to the lowest first level inside of something like a pantry you may have, or a closet underneath your staircase, maybe a powder room. Protect your head from flying debris. You'll want to use things like pillows, blankets, a helmet. Here's the deal. We've seen these storms move through. We've seen these tornadoes come through areas that are duplexes, that have 2 floors. The top floor in some of the pictures I've seen, absolutely gone. I mean, demolished. The bottom floors, much safer. So make sure you heed that warning very cautiously. This is all moving to the east. I would really be concerned in and around the Gallatin area as this starts to work its way off to the north and east. Castellian Springs, we're not technically in this warning just yet, but the way this has been going, let's be ready for it right now. Gallatin High School, the time is 5:04. 5:10, you've got 5 minutes. You have no time left. Get into your safe space in Gallatin at 5:11. There's Castellian Springs at 5:22. Bethpage at 5:26. Hartsville at 5:33. This is a telltale sign with that hook. Kind of looks like a comma, right? That's showing us not only does the storm have a lot of inflow, but it's also sucking in a lot of air and lifting that rotation up and putting that tornado on the ground. The rotation in this has been just tremendous. As it gets a little bit farther away from the radar site, we should be able to get a better view of what the gate-to-gate shear situation is, but I think we can still get a good view of that in some kind of sense. I mean, with this storm, as hooked as it is, it really is telling us that just right in here, right near Patonia right now, and heading toward Gallatin, like I said, it's going right along Nashville Pike. It's following directly with that. It's only about 3 miles, thank you so much, Cruz, away from Gallatin, and then right up in line with that one is Trousdale. This is a tornado emergency. It's on the ground. It's coming your way. It has not shown any signs of weakening. There's also some good size hail within this as well. I'd say up to about 1 inch in size, maybe more than that in some locations. So there'll be hail on the backside of this as well. And by the way, here's another thing to think about. Once this goes through, there's a second hit coming on the backside near Hendersonville, Goodlettsville, Millersville. This is not tornado warmed. What we're watching for is the cell that's farther to the north and east near Gallatin. You can get a good look at the rotation. But once the tornado warm cell goes through, the second one is going to hit on top of that. So here's the deal. If the tornado goes through, and you're safe and you're well, stay where you are. Do not try to leave, because then on the backside, a second severe thunderstorm is going to hit, and that could still pack winds of 40, 50, 60 miles per hour, heavy rainfall. What crews is showing right now is the history of the rotation with this storm, and just tremendous rotation. I mean, from right now in Gallatin, we can track it all the way back through Hendersonville, Goodlettsville, Whites Creek, north of Jordonia. This storm has had this tornado on the ground for quite a while now, but now not only is it on the ground, but it is a catastrophic tornado that could cause catastrophic damage as it works its way through. We've already had reports of damage from some of this. There's the debris detector. Again, still a little close to the radar. As it gets a little bit farther out, we should be able to see that a little bit better, but you better believe right now that this is on the ground and it's lofting debris. There's a little bit better look at the wind speed. If we can query some of this, crews, I think down near Lock 4 Park Road, if you query that little dark or lighter red part, I mean 91 miles per hour. It's probably even more than that in some spots. The point to show you this here, these two numbers, I mean, you're adding them together and you're looking at wind speeds that are over 120 miles per hour. That's sustained and together with this rotation that's coming through. There's the rotation detector, and there it is right near Lock 4 Park Road. It's moving off to the northeast. Let me step out here so we can get some of these roadways in here. Nicholas Lane, Jocelyn Avenue, Woodvale Drive, South Water Avenue. It's going across right over South Water Avenue, South Westland Ave. If you hear the street that's in your town and you're near areas like Cairo, you're going near Gallatin, all of these areas, you need to be getting into your safe space immediately. There's Steam Plant Road on top of that. Airport Road looks like Arlington or Albright Road as well. Lakewood Drive just going to hit Gallatin. Wow, look at that hook. I mean, Gallatin, Trousdale, all of these areas are really showing just a tremendous amount of rotation. And on the back side of this, really where you see all these dark pinks and these blacks, that's not only heavier rainfall, but you could still have 50-mile-per-hour winds within that part of the storm. And yeah, there's the hail component as well. There could very well be hail over 1 inch in size with this. It's not the main threat, but it is an additional threat to think about. The same with this storm in Hendersonville, with it coming through on the back side of this hail, heavy rainfall, gusty wind. It's something else I really want to stress to you guys, because Lisa and crews, I mean, like I said, first storm goes through and you know, you get through it, you get to your safe place, but then the second one comes in on the back side of that, and that can really cause some problems. I mean, this storm has already knocked out power, structural damage in so many areas, and what we'll be watching for is how well this can actually hold together. Like we've talked about, the National Weather Service is calling this, you see it there at the bottom of the screen, it's catastrophic at this point. I mean, we've had reports of tremendous structural damage, people trapped, people injured. We don't have any reports of fatalities, but you know, our hearts go out to everyone being affected and impacted by this. Bethpage, we're getting some heavier rainfall right now. Looks like that cell will go just to the south of there. It's north of LaGuardo near Gallatin. There's that sort of rotation that we're seeing. A little bit of a better view with the rotation detector gives you just a good idea of where that rotation is. I would say I would give or take about a mile or two to the north and the south. So let's watch that for the rotation as it works its way through. What we could be able to see here, maybe something we can do later. We want to focus on this right now. Sometimes we can get an internal look at the storm. We can get sort of a cut of the atmosphere that looks like that, but I think it's something we should do a little bit later on. From Gallatin to Trousdale, I mean, Castalian Springs, all of these areas, Hickory Grove, it's going to go just north of Cairo, it looks like, but there's Highway 231 as it moves off to the north and east. I can only imagine, Lisa and crews, that, you know, this tornado warning is going to be extended farther east at this point.
I think so, and I do want to let you know, too, that we've already got reports in Hendersonville that there are homes that have been heavily damaged and there is entrapment going on. So people are trapped in their homes. And we also had on Main Street a report of a roof off a building. So that's just more proof positive in what we're seeing here with these storms, that they are very, very dangerous. And, you know, we don't take this lightly. This is truly a life-threatening situation this evening as these storms are producing damage as they move to the east. This is a tornado that is on the ground. We're looking inside that storm right there. You can see how tall it is. The storm is building up into the atmosphere and kind of slicing into the middle of it as it moves towards the east. But we can just look at this in the 2D version and tell what an incredibly strong storm this is. A very well-defined hook, and that is all always indicative of a tornado. When you see that signature, I can remember back in 2008, a well-defined hook right here in Gallatin that did so much damage. And now we're looking at yet another storm that is moving through there right now. Look at this, how it progressed. There it is, that hook. A little bit of a break in there, but this is likely where that tornado is right now, just south of you in Gallatin. If you are in this area, please make sure that you are in that safe spot. Let's call out some of these areas that we're seeing here. Right where that hook is Woodvale Drive, and that's going to be crossing Steam Plant Road. If you're on Newton Lane, if you're on Lakewood Drive, if you're on Albright Lane, it's going to be crossing your area too as it advances towards the east. But that is right on top of you if you're in the Woodvale Drive community. And I also see South Water Avenue too. Cairo, Castilian Springs, it's headed your way over to Hartsville too as it continues on this path right now. So there is where it's located right now. It's right on top of you in Gallatin, and we find that hook right here. It's going to continue to move to the east, and Castilian Springs is going to be one of the next communities along with Cairo as well. And then coming across 231 here on this path, moving in this general direction here's the timing. Castilian Springs around 5:21, Hartsville at 5:33, and Green Grove at 5:34. If you're in those areas, this is a dangerous situation. Please go on and head to your safe spot, and don't get that second look outside, because that's how so many people can get caught off guard by a tornado, because you're looking for it, you want to look out the door, but it's dark, it's rain wrapped, and you're just not going to be able to see it in a timely manner that's going to give you enough time to get back into your safe spot. So just go on and head there now. Folks over in Davidson County, just to let you know, you are not under the tornado warning anymore. It has moved by you, but we do have some thunderstorms right now in Jolton and Whites Creek, and we're going to see more of that moving into Nashville. So we're not done with the storms yet, but that tornadic storm has moved on towards the east right now. But we are looking at quite a bit of lightning with this next storm that's going to be coming into your area. So we're keeping an eye on that for you. There is also another tornado warning that is right up here impacting Scottsville and Halfway. Here it is right here. That's the circulation with this storm as it moves towards the east right now. So just want to give you a heads up there if you're in Scottsville that we are still watching this storm as it moves off towards the east northeast, tracking across some of our southern Kentucky counties here. So you may be impacted with that. Not as well defined as we saw with the other storm that is down in the Gallatin area. It is going to be in Scottsville at 5:29. Oak Forest at 5:37, and over to Holland at 5:39. So make sure you're in your safe spot. If you're back in Franklin, the storm has moved past you in Franklin, Kentucky there. So we look on our map and we see a severe thunderstorm warning that is right over there to the west and right into parts of, let's see, over to folks in the Home area, Centerville, over to Linden. You'll want to keep a close eye out with this storm moving your way, but that's a severe thunderstorm warning. But we know from what we've seen earlier that we can have quick spin ups. Those do not look as menacing, though, is what we're seeing up here right into Sumner County and also into Trousdale County right now. This is where our active tornado warning is located. This is a storm moved out of Hendersonville, and we see it continues to track on towards the east right now and continues toward Castilian Springs. We're looking at our rotation detector here, and what we're circling here is where we've got the reds and greens really close together in here. So that could be an area right now where we're seeing that rotation. Not as indicative as it was a little earlier. It was so well defined a bit earlier, but nonetheless, this is some rotation that's happening right there around Castilian Springs as it moves eastward. And you can see our gate-to-gate shear is a little bit less than 100 miles an hour right now. Those are good signs, but still, we're under that tornado warning and we want to take those precautions. This is an incredible hook that we're seeing. Usually is showing us exactly where that tornado is, right there on the tail end of that hook. Looks like Stefano said, like a comma as it moves towards Castilian Springs. And Hartsville, you will be next in line with this storm as it moves towards the east right now. We've got a lot of lightning with these storms too, so you're probably hearing those rumbles of thunder from Westmoreland stretching all the way down to folks there in Hendersonville, where that tornado has passed by you, but we do know there has been some damage in Hendersonville. We've had reports already of some homes that were heavily damaged with some folks trapped inside, and also on Main Street. And of course, we've got our news crews that will be out surveying and giving us more information about what is going on in these areas too. Again, this is moving towards the east-northeast. It's going to be headed across 231 within the next little while with this storm. And keep in mind, it's past you now if you're in Gallatin, but you're not done. There's another storm on the back side of that. So that's going to be coming just on the heels of that with more high wind and also some lightning with that. We are not seeing that tornado warning for that, however. Here is where we are most likely getting our tornado at this point, but I'm liking what I'm seeing here in terms of it's not as conducive to what we had a little earlier when it comes to those winds being really tight together to hold a tornado there on the ground. So that's what we're seeing right now as the storm moves on towards the east-northeast. And put that reflectivity back on, and we'll find just on the tail end of that circulation right there it is. And typically that's where the winds are blowing in. So that's right here as we find moving into Lauderdale County, and can see some of the roads right in here, which does include folks there on Ziegler's Fort Road, I should say. It's going to be moving across there, Cairo Road, and then continuing right along Highway 25 too as it moves towards the east-northeast, headed to you in Castilian Springs and also around Hickory Grove too. Another road I'm seeing up here that's very close to that storm is going to be Roundtree Drive right now, but it has moved beyond you in Gallatin. So good news there, a sigh of relief for you in Gallatin. But remember, there's another storm coming on the back side of this as well. And there once again is that circulation that we're seeing with the storm and that well-defined hook right through here. This is the next thunderstorm that's going to move through. Not a warning for this storm, however. This is the one there's a warning. And what is our expiration time on this one, Cruz, this warning?
This one goes till 5:45.
All right, so 5:45, so almost another half hour with this one as it moves across parts of Sumner County and now into Trousdale County, headed towards the Hartsville area too. There's Westmoreland up to the north, so you're in the thick of the northern part of the storm where we've got a lot of rain, some lightning right now, and some gusty winds with this storm. So you'll want to just stay inside till all this passes you by. You're just off to the north there, that tornado warned area. This is Cottontown over here, and you're in the thick of that storm as well. And then we've got Millersville about to see some stormier weather come passing through. A lot of lightning back on this end of it. And we see around Jolton that storm is moving closer and closer to folks again in Hendersonville. This one does not have a warning for it right now, and that's going to be moving into Madison, into Inglewood. So it's going to be pretty stormy out here. We're not seeing any signs right now of any kind of rotation with this. And then we follow on down that line. Kingston Springs also in the midst of a thunderstorm. Good news for you in Dixon. The rain is starting to taper off a little bit lighter rain. Waverly, you are in the clear now, and we still have the severe thunderstorm warning from Centerville all the way down through Linden, approaching you if you're in the Homewall area, and this one in effect until 5:30, so about 10 more minutes for that storm. And that is where we're seeing a severe storm warning in effect now. Heads up if you're in Columbia, in Smyrna, in Murfreesboro. This line is going to be headed to you before too much longer. And we see down to Lawrenceburg. Wayne County is still under the severe thunderstorm warning, but it will be moving, the storm line itself will be moving there into Lawrenceburg before too much longer now. Well, let's go back to our tornado warned area right up here. And this is a particularly dangerous situation. This storm has produced a tornado already, and we are still seeing signs of that tornado with this well-defined hook right now coming into Castilian Springs and moving on towards the east. It will be crossing 231 and also making its way closer to you if you're in the Templo area for too much longer, and could see an impact right there around Walnut Grove too. Here is that wind blowing into this storm. It's right there on 25, and that is the circulation that we're seeing with our storm right through here. So if you are in these areas, make sure that you are in that safe place till this totally passes by. And again, the safest place to be is going to be lowest level of your home, putting those walls between you. It's almost like building a fort to protect you from that storm. Center of the building is going to be the best place to be. Remember, you want to keep all that flying debris outside, and that's going to be the best thing that you can do. Castilian Springs, 5:22 is the estimated arrival time, so a couple of minutes, a minute from now. Hartsville around 5:38, and over to Green Grove 5:40 is when we expect that storm to come into your area as it holds together pretty well. Still liking that we're seeing it not show as great a sign of the circulation, but still we are looking at reds and greens really tight together right through here. It's just not as broad a circulation, or as I should say, as big a circulation area as we had a little earlier. And looking at the debris ball there just a second ago to see if we could see any. This is definitely, Cruz, is not as well defined and easy to pick out as what we had a little bit earlier with some of our earlier storms, but still an indicator that we're gonna watch it for sure to see if we see that ramping up some.
Yeah, that's right. So sometimes with these radar velocities, what the wind is doing inside the storm, it can be a bit ambiguous, meaning we can't really tell if it's debris. There's sometimes where it's, a clear-cut sign. With this particular storm, I can't see that anymore, which is good. We were seeing it earlier, so I'm glad to see that we don't have that. Nonetheless, the National Weather Service is still calling this a confirmed tornado that is on the ground. And as long as that is confirmed, we're still going to have this box flashing purple here. So just a regular tornado warning. The box flashes red. This particular one, you can see it there. I've actually put it on the screen. Confirmed tornado warning. This goes until 5:45, and the counties included. This is going to be Sumner, Trousdale, and Macon County. So a heads up to you folks. We're looking way down the line, even outside of the warning. A heads up to you folks in Lafayette. If this holds together, this could brush just past you. So start thinking of where your safe place is at. We've been saying it all evening, but I'll give you another reminder. This is going to be on the first floor of your home. You want to be away from windows. That's the most important thing. So think about a closet, a bathroom, something that really is going to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And then to go a step further, you can put things over your head, a cover, some pillows, if you have a helmet, shoes. These are all things that you're going to want to remember and take with you as you go into that safe place. But we're giving you that first alert. We're letting you know ahead of time, and we want you to take this serious. So we've seen these storms today. They have been, causing so much damage. Think back to the Montgomery County tornado we had earlier in Clarksville. That one has caused a lot of damage. We've seen damage in Davidson County as this same storm that has now passed Gallatin moved through. So lots going on today. This has just been an active day, and it's going to stay pretty active until this line moves through. So as Lisa was saying, we like to give you folks a all clear. So if you're back to the west, let's say areas like Waverly, Clarksville, Hopkinsville, Paris, not to say you won't see another shower, possibly even a storm back there, but I'd say the worst of the weather is now to your east. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings for the extreme southern tier of the Midstate. So that's going to be this orange box that you're seeing down here. And that is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for many of our southern counties. Just some communities to name here: Linden, Hohenwald, Lawrenceburg. This is moving toward you. Lawrence County is not actually included in this warning for now, but it could be extended a little farther to the east. And then as we look to the north, this is where we've been seeing the rotation. Most of this has come from our western counties and northern counties, even extending into southern Kentucky. So my southern Kentucky folks watching, we have not forgot you. Let's check out these warnings that are to the north at this time. So we've got one in Allen County, Kentucky. This is right around Scottsville. And the good news here, the rotation is so broad, it's actually very weak rotation. Nonetheless, be in your safe place. Always treat a tornado warning with respect. You don't want to be caught off guard. We need you in your safe place as this moves through Allen County, Kentucky. So this is closing in on Scottsville. I'm going to lapse this just slowly to show you where that rotation's moving. So see where the red and greens are? That's actually where we have that rotation. And once again, this is just to the west of Scottsville, but it is very weak rotation compared to what we have farther to the south. So because this is still a confirmed tornado, I don't want to take my eyes off of it. We're not taking any chances with this storm that is about to move to the far eastern portion of Sumner County. This is going to cross into western Trousdale and western Macon County. This is that storm that had the confirmed tornado on it as it moved through Davidson County. We know that this impacted the southern part of Gallatin as well, and because of its history, we know that it can cycle, meaning You know, it might weaken for a bit, but it could strengthen up just as quickly. And this particular storm, at least the rotation, is now moving over Highway 231. This is just to the south of Chipman. It's just to the west of Templo. It's moving toward Willard and Green Grove. And once again, it's crossing Highway 231, giving you an idea of where this is headed. Hawkins Branch Road, we've got Carr Branch Road, State Route 141, Elmer Dalton Road, Harris Branch Road, and then some communities, Pleasant Valley and Beach Hill down the road. So we're putting this, you know, on your radar ahead of time, quite literally, as this storm continues to move off to the east. Gallatin, the part of the storm that was rotating is now past you. Now, until that tornado warning is allowed to expire, I would stay in your safe place just out of an abundance of caution. We know the atmosphere is very prime today for severe weather and quick spin-ups, and we certainly don't want you to be caught under one of those. So with that being said, this particular tornado warning is confirmed. It goes until 5:45 p.m. This storm is moving off to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour and will continue to move on to possibly impact areas like Lafayette down the line. So, of course, that would be in Macon County. And you've got plenty of time to watch this as it goes toward your area. So this is just a reminder. You can download our app. You can take it with you into the closet. That's the free First Alert weather app. You can find this in the App Store. It's a free download. We're streaming there. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere that you can find us, any streaming service. Turn up your volume. Get in your safe place. We've got you covered right here on WSMB4.
All right, so we have, gosh, a much better view of what we had a little earlier. Things are seeming to quiet down a little bit. Some of these storms weakening somewhat. That is good news as we take a reset here with our First Alert live radar. Now, we're going to be going out to some reporters here in just a little bit. I'll let you know when we get to that, and we can take a look at some of the damage that our reporters are finding out in the field. But right now, we're still under a severe thunderstorm warning for folks here on this southern end of the whole system, and we find that including Linden down to Savannah. So we're looking ahead to folks there in Columbia and Lawrenceburg. You're going to be seeing some of the heavier downpours, the gusty winds with these storms. And then we follow that line up. Fairview, you're going to be getting some of that as well. This is going to be headed towards Spring Hill. And you can see right now it is starting to move into Nashville. This is the second line. Here's the good news. Back on the back side of this, around Dixon, you're almost out of it. Clarksville, you're out of it. Springfield, you've just got the rain right now. And Greenbrier, mostly out of it, just seeing some of the rain. So the all clear for all these communities that I'm calling now. If you're in Hendersonville, let's know that we've got still some storminess to go through. And in Nashville, you're not under a warning right now, but there are storms that are moving through. So wait until that passes by before you head out. This is where we still have the tornado warning in effect. And just as I said that, I can hear that rain coming over here in West Nashville. Here is our tornado warning that remains in effect. This is the one that we tracked all the way through Hendersonville. Confirmed tornado with this storm. There's a lot of damage in Hendersonville. We've heard already with some folks maybe trapped inside their homes there. But here's what we're seeing right now. Much better than what we had a little earlier. We're checking some of our indicators of what's going on with the storm. And you can see
Activity on this one.
Yes, it is a little easier to see, and you can see it right through there. That is the notch that where we think that tornado is. If it's still holding together, that is most likely where it is. It was really looked like a hook a bit earlier, less like that now, but certainly that is where that tornado is. We are under this tornado warning still, and you can see it around Templo right there. 56 and 40, so we've got right around 100-mile-per-hour winds, just under that. That's going to be headed to Green Grove and also over to Willard. So this is still a very dangerous storm. We want to wait till this is certainly passed before we call the all clear for folks here. If you're in Bethpage, it's just about beyond you. You've still got quite a bit of lightning out there right now. Here are some of the estimated arrival times with this storm as it moves over to Green Grove, 5:34 to Lafayette, 5:48 is the estimated arrival time. Macon County High School, 5
at around 5:59. Now, within this whole mess of the storm system, well,
not really. I was
no.
just checking.
Live in this warning polygon. This is probably the strongest storm that we are currently tracking, short of maybe the one that we'll get to in just a few moments down in Alabama. But this is actually a warned storm, and you can see some very interesting characteristics as this particular cell is now entering that much advertised, very moist, very soupy atmosphere on top of the southern Midstate tonight and northwest Alabama.
And we do need to say that includes eastern Hardin County till 5:45.
Yes.
Well,
Where that storm presently is, because right now it's riding on the county line, and you see two severe thunderstorm warning boxes here. This is NWS Memphis. This is NWS Nashville. And so they don't cross into each other's territory. That is intensifying. So this is the Hardin County warning. This is the Wayne County warning. And Fred's got the box drawn. This is going to be at the Lutz community at 5:34, Cromwell Crossroads at 5:41, 5:48 in Collinwood, Waynesboro at 5:53. Let's go to storm relative. That's the Barron button.
yeah.
And yeah, it's messy, but it's there.
It's broader than it was the last scanner, too. I'll say that, but it's still there.
Brian, is that within range of our?
Yes, it is actually, and we do see a little bit of a low-level kind of convergent area.
Right here.
And also near Deerfield, Lawrence County. This is not warned, but I do want to mention on reflectivity as well. You can see a really impressive hook on that one on reflectivity. Yeah, the one you're pointing at right now. That thing has a very impressive structure that we're also keeping an eye on. Doesn't have a warning right now on it, but that one is what I'm watching very closely as well.
Okay, so Nashville, the National Weather Service in Nashville is doing a really good job tonight of warning, especially in light of everything that they've got going tonight, because a very powerful and destructive tornado just literally touched down within a mile of their office. And you're going to be seeing this on the news over the next few days about how destructive those storms in Metro Nashville and northeast of Nashville toward Hendersonville and Gallatin have been. And so with that said, they are doing a good job of keeping everybody warned and these storms being watched. And so we are watching them very, very carefully here.
I want to give you that because it has some processing that makes the velocity
Not over yet. The good news is, Lisa, like you said, a lot of these storms are starting to at least weaken down a little bit. So it's a good sign, but we still have this storm, which is still going to be problematic here. We'll see if the National Weather Service lets this continue on. Normally what we've been seeing is once they put another tornado warning inside of that, they might be expecting it to lift a little bit, but for now it's still considered on the ground.
Yes, and you know, we still had just a moment ago that easy to see hook that was still on the bottom of that storm. Yeah, it's easy to find it right through there. So that's still showing us the sign that it's there. We are now at 5:35, so just 10 more minutes on the warning, and we'll be looking for any indication if we're going to see that continued on. But that's the flashing warning there. That represents a particularly dangerous situation, a tornado emergency with this storm as it moved on towards the east. And this last update here doesn't look as menacing as what we had earlier. So we're always looking at the shape of this storm and to see if we see that hook, and we're not seeing it as well defined as it was a little bit earlier. As it continues to move on towards the northeast, going to be headed here into Macon County, right there around Lafayette too. Back all the way to Gallatin, you are still in the midst of a thunderstorm as we've still got the heavier rain. And the same goes for folks over in Hendersonville who are just trying to regroup here after we've had a tornado come through there. and we are looking at rain still falling in that area, and the storms continue all the way down here into Centerville. This was the latest warning that was issued until 6:15. Includes folks there from just south of Fairview all the way through to Centerville and down to Hohenwald right now. And then one more warning right down here to the south. Look at that in northern Lawrence County, and then another in Wayne County. So we're still tracking these storms for you and getting that bigger perspective one more time. Here is where we have the tornado warning. So that storm is continuing to move through here. Now we're going to keep a very close eye on this storm, but we have some folks out in the field who are giving us an idea of what's going on. So let's head over to, let's see, Amanda and also Marius for the latest on what's going on.
Lisa, Spencer, thank you. We have tons of crews out in the area covering our communities as these storms are passing here through the Midstate.
The National Weather Service calling this a catastrophic tornado outbreak. It's moved through many parts of the Midstate, and we have multiple confirmed tornadoes. Let's talk about some of the things that have been happening within the last few minutes here and show you video as well. Take a look at this. It is video of a tornado moving through Nashville, through Davidson County, right there on I-65, and you can kind of see it from this TDOT camera. We've had multiple explosions reported as a result of this.
Yeah, that is crossing Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. We had people have called in and they said they saw flipped cars out there, a lot of damage in that area, but that is a perspective that not a lot of people see. That is crossing an interstate right there.
All right, Springfield also having some issues. We know that search and rescue operations are underway there. Multiple people have been reported as being trapped, and we've got crews there as well.
Yes, we do. We want to get you out to Brendan Tierney. He's been in Springfield as these storms are blowing through. Brendan, what are you seeing out there right now?
Marius and Amanda, yeah, we have seen those search and rescue crews going through buildings out here searching for people that might be injured or trapped in their homes after that large tornado ripped through the area here. We're right along Memorial Boulevard, which is one of the hardest hit areas. Right behind me is a jewelry store that's just been completely destroyed. I talked with a woman whose sister was inside that building when the tornado came through. She had to be taken to the hospital. Her head was bleeding and her leg was severely injured. But that's just the start of it. I want you to take a look at this car over here that's completely flipped over. That car on its side still out here along Memorial Boulevard as the tornado came right through here. You're able to see power poles laying on the ground. Some of them still up, snapped in multiple places, going different directions with those strong winds coming through. That one right in front of an urgent care center. Behind it is a Kroger. We've talked with people who were out here saying that they were concerned as they heard those sirens going off and they just tried to seek shelter. There's also a car shop out here, walls of it completely ripped apart by the winds that came through here, along with strong rain that has still been falling, as well as thunder and lightning that we are still seeing flashes of. I talked with some people a little bit ago that said there are also churches in the area that had significant damage. The roof ripped off of them from the storm coming through the area here. Luckily, we have been talking with people that heard those sirens, said they got to their safe place and were able to ride this storm out without getting hurt themselves. Definitely multiple people taken to the hospital. We just saw the gas company get out here on scene, hopefully to turn off the natural gas, because we have been getting that smell of gas as the power is also out here with all of these transformers that have blown. We'll, of course, continue to survey the damage out here and bring you the latest updates on air and over on our WSMV4 News app. But for now, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Brendan, we will be checking back in with you as the search and rescue continues in Springfield.
And we know similar situation unfolding right now in Clarksville. Joylyn Bukovac is live for us this evening to walk us through what she's seeing there. We know there have been multiple reports of people injured, homes damaged or destroyed, buildings damaged or destroyed as well. You've been watching people go door to door to check on folks, Joylyn.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very frightening situation. Once I arrived, Clarksville police went into this house right here, making sure everyone was okay. And I did talk to this family. As you can see, there's a moving truck that's flipped onto its side, and it was pushed up against the house. I'm told that the daughter was in the house hiding at the time. She is okay, and everyone in that house is okay as well. But just about 5 houses down, there is a family who they heard the sirens, heard the wind, and then they ran downstairs to their safe place. That's when one of the boys in that home got hit with some glass, but they are okay, and they were able to get into their safe spot just in time. That's what the family told me whenever I talked to them. But a few more houses down the way where you see all of those first responders there is a heavy focus. I know you can't see because of all the lights and it's very dark, but there is a house that collapsed over there. And the family that I talked to just a few houses down, they said that they ran to help because they could hear a little girl screaming, saying that she was with her brother and she needed help, and they were able to get her out of that rubble as well. And I'm told they were eventually able to pull up that little boy. I have not confirmed his condition, but there have been a lot of people in tears. So right now, a lot of people are praying for that family. I'll be working to find out more about this situation as first responders continue checking door to door, making sure that they have all of the survivors and continue to looking for people under this debris. It seems like most of the houses with the worst damage are down this way, but there are houses this way that are missing roofs and that have some pretty heavy damage as well. But we'll continue bringing you the very latest updates as soon as we get them. But for now, reporting live in Clarksville, I'm Joylyn Bukovac, WSMV4.
Joylyn, thank you. That is tough to hear.
Oh, yeah,
That is tough to hear. We're in the holiday season. People were preparing for Christmas, and Mother Nature seemed to have her way with a lot of people here in the Midstate. We want to get you updated on some of the power outages. NES is reporting 23,400 people without power in the Nashville area, but within the region, over 65,000 people without power at this time.
Good news so far. Authorities are not giving us any information about confirmed fatalities, so that's a good news at this hour. Jordan James is live in Montgomery County for us right now as we continue to survey the damage there. Jordan?
Hey, Amanda, I just got here to Clarksville over the last 5 minutes. Right now, I'm located at Walnut Grove Missionary Baptist Church, and this site behind me truly shows what a lot of this community looks like as a result of that tornado that rolled through the area. As you can see, that the steeple has fell completely to the ground right in front of this church. The windows are busted out of the vehicles on the parking lot, and right next to the school is a fine arts school that is completely destroyed. We spoke with the man who oversees the school. He tells us that all of the equipment is damaged, and just 1 week ago, they had 300 kids there doing a play, and he said he feels fortunate that they were not there today when this storm rolled through the area. But right now, I can tell you that there is a lot of uncertainty in this community. A lot of folks are standing outside, talking to one another, wondering where they go from here after this. They say that the storms rolled through pretty fast. On one part of the town, you know, there's a lot of lights and things like that. But when you get to the northern part of this city, it's completely dark. Many folks are sitting out in their cars trying to figure out their next steps. We did check in with city officials, and they tell us that they're still assessing the damage, trying to determine the number of injuries. But I know the preliminary information that we got from officials were that several people were trapped, but they said those numbers were not as high as they initially anticipated. But it's fair to say that it's going to be a tough road to recovery for several people in this community as officials try to figure out where to go from here. For now, reporting here live in Clarksville, Jordan James, WSMV4.
Jordan, thank you so much. That damage that is sitting behind him, you know, it's dark right now. We can't see a lot of the damage that's happening in these communities that we're out there covering.
Imagine what it's going to look like when daylight comes. Let's talk about the last lingering threat right now. Cruz and Stefano are watching that for us in the Weather Center, guys.
All right, the good news here. Good news here is that one tornado warning that we had, that's going to be allowed to expire. It looks as though the worst of it has moved by and this tornado is lifted up. So that is great news. So we're happy to always deliver that, but we're not totally out of the woods now. We've still got some more thunderstorms, guys.
And we still have a tornado watch actually that's in effect until 11 o'clock, and that's for areas that are along an east. And it's actually still for parts of southern Middle Tennessee as well as those storms fire up. You know, they haven't been showing too many signs of rotation, but because of how, you know, quickly these storms have been doing that, that watch will probably hold true until 11 o'clock, or at least until all of these storms taper off. So it's been, as you see at the bottom, catastrophic.
It really has. It's been an active day, and with these tornado watches still active, this is not the time to let your guard down. Yes, we don't have any tornado warnings on the map for the first time in several hours, which is great news. That still should be a sign to you, though, to stay weather aware for the rest of this evening, as we could see additional strong storms develop as this line continues to move through. Lisa?
All right, so the good news here, Cruz, we want to tell everybody that where you don't see that yellow, you are good to go for tonight. I mean, the storms have passed you by in Clarksville, right over here through Cheatham County, back over into Dixon County, back to Waverly. But if you're off to the east, if you're in Nashville, you are still under that tornado watch for now and points eastward for sure, as we are still dealing with some storms right now. Here is where we did have that tornado warning that was in effect, that was just been out. It's passed by you now in Centerville. This is in effect until 6:15, so we've got almost 30 more minutes with this storm as it moves to the east. That will be headed to Spring Hill, Columbia could be some of the areas impacted. A lot of lightning still with these storms, and we've also got a strong storm still in Wayne County. So let's grab that, Cruz, and scoot that up just a little bit so we can see those other couple of warnings here. This is the one that was in Wayne County, or I should say is in Wayne County, excuse me, and now is producing quite a bit of lightning. Another is in Lawrence County, and that's in the northern part of the county right now. So these couple of storms, a lot of lightning with both of those. This is going to swing by and probably clips there into Etheridge, and then Waynesboro. You're right in the thick of that right now, but the worst of the storm is just off to the south of you at this point. But by far, this is the area we're watching, and I thought we might have a new tornado warning. Looks as though this has regenerated a little bit, and I can see that just from looking at this radar. I mean, that hook was gone and now it's back again. This is around Lafayette, so a new tornado warning has been issued for you right here in Macon County, headed to you in Red Boiling Springs. What we're seeing here is, again, that rotation. We've got reds and greens close together. That means the storm is rotating. The question is it reaching all the way to the ground? Well, these storms have had a history of doing just that, as you know, and that hook is back once again. It kind of briefly went away there, but just east of Lafayette, you can see it again, and it is knocking on your door if you're in Red Boiling Springs. If you're in that community, please make sure that you are in your safe spot. I mean, this is just off to the west-southwest of you, continuing to move about 50 miles an hour, headed to Red Boiling Springs at 5:54. It is 5:48 right now, and then over to Leonard at 5:59. And to Hermitage Springs at 5:59. Union Hill, 6:04 is the estimated arrival time. To Clementsville, right around 6:04. Boyles at 6:08. Pine Hill, 6:08. Over to Moss at 6:10. Clay County High School, 6:16. And then over to Blythe at 6:17. So this is the area right now that remains under a tornado warning. So we want to make sure we're watching these storms. I mean, we already know, but seeing what our reporters are showing us, they have had a history of producing tornadoes. So we want to take this new tornado warning very, very seriously right through here. And I'm also seeing a little bit of a green box there. We've had a lot of rain in some of these areas. So now we do have a flood advisory in effect. So watch that. I hope you don't have to get out right now. Let's let this thing pass you by if you're in Bethpage, if you're in Westmoreland. But there could be some ponding on roads. We could have some water up over some of our roads because of our creeks and rivers and streams getting so much water in a short period of time. But our most dangerous storm that we have out here right now is the one that you see here that is on top of you in Lafayette at this point. So want to make sure you are in your safe spot there as this storm moves you by. And we can get a little closer in on that because I want to tell you some of these roads that we're seeing impacted here. This is right there around Holland Road, and scoot that frame up just a little bit, Cruz, so we can get out from under that banner. There we go. To around Sycamore Valley, Draper's Crossroads. It's going over to 52. King Hill Road is one of the roads that it's going to be crossing. Also, it's not too far from Apple Tree Lane, Spring Street. So if any of these sound familiar to you, this is where this storm is going to be headed, or where it is right now. Red Boiling Springs, it is not far from you at all. Smith Chapel, another community, Jenkins Village, Bakerton, Leonard, all those areas are in line for what could be the next tornado that comes through, making its way on towards the east right now. So best place to be, where is it? It's going to be the lowest level of your home, a basement if you've got it. Or also you can get in a closet or perhaps even in the bathtub of a bathroom that is away from windows. We don't want to be in there with the windows. That's going to be the most ideal place for you to be to keep you and your family safe. You can take blankets, you can take pillows in there, anything to help protect you from flying debris, because tornadoes are a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. They suck things up inside of them and then they throw them all out. So what we want you to do is protect yourself from that flying debris, especially your head, by using pillows, blankets, or a helmet. That can all help. And whenever there's a tornado warning, you don't want to be in a car or in a mobile home. Head over to a neighbor's place, or if you're driving, and of course that wouldn't be the case right now, but if you are driving, make sure that you go over to some type of sturdy structure, stop at a store, something like that, to get out of your car and away from this storm. But this is the most likely spot. If we're seeing a tornado right now, this is the most likely spot that is occurring there, near Red Boiling Springs, and continuing to head towards Hermitage Springs as well. A lot of heavy rain, though, coming down along this line. We've got the one flood advisory already in effect, and look at all these reports of tornadoes all the way through here. We've been showing you the pictures of the damage too. Just amazing what has happened this afternoon here across parts of Middle Tennessee. This is widespread. It's a widespread tornado outbreak for sure. And here we've got another severe thunderstorm warning in effect. By the way, with this, look at all these power outages. This map showing you where the more significant power outages are, and even in Davidson County. Look at that, 14,000 power outages reported on this map. We had quite a few in Montgomery County, not surprising. Also over into Macon County too, not surprising there. This severe thunderstorm warning, including parts of Williamson County down to Murray County, in effect until 6:15. As this storm moves on to the east, that's going to swing by Springfield and also around the Franklin area too as it marches eastward, and then down a little farther to the south. This is the one cell we've been tracking here in northern Lawrence, and that's continuing to move east-northeastward. A lot of lightning with that storm. And then over in Waynesboro, you've got this one moving through. A lot of lightning for you there. Folks in Clifton, folks in Savannah, in the western part of Wayne County, you are in the clear as that storm has moved to the east of you now. And many other areas are looking good. In Nashville, things are much better for you. Back to Waverly, no doubt, down to Linden, Clarksville. All these areas are for sure in the clear. The storm system is right here. And we do know that that front is passing through, and that's also having an impact on our temperatures, and we will continue to see that be the case. And I look to see more of those counties trimmed away. Now, there was a look at those temperatures. We can see if we've got any indicators right now, if you want to show that again, just how much cooler it is. I can already tell by looking at the green that we're starting to see that shift as opposed to the yellow where we're still in the 60s. We're in the 50s in some of these locations. Some of that's rain-cooled air, but we know there's some much cooler air that's going to be coming in. Our dew point temperatures, still very moist air mass out here for this time of year, and that is what's helping to fuel these storms as they move on to the east. And of course, those dew points are lower behind that. And basically what that means, that is a temperature that we use to measure how much moisture is in the air. So 60s, certainly higher than 50s, which is the drier air that is off to the west. We have had some rain come through, no doubt about it with these storms. That was one of the things that we thought would happen all along, is the heavy downpours. And you can see around Waverly, we've had around an inch plus of rain. Over to Dixon, looking there at around an inch, almost 2 inches of rain. This is helpful with the drought today, but we could have done without the tornado activity that we are still dealing with. So with that in mind, we still have one tornado warning that remains in effect right now. And that is right up here. Does include folks that are in Macon County. Extending eastward includes you in Salina too, as the storm is marching eastward. Here is where we most likely have that circulation. It's right on top of you there in the Red Boiling Springs area and right off to the northwest. Those reds and greens close together like that. We've got rotation going on in that cloud, in that thunderstorm. And then the question is always, is it reaching the ground? But we want to wait to find out. We want to make sure we're taking precautions there. We've got Leonard at 602 and Hermitage Springs at 603, Clementstown at 608, and Union Hill at 609. These are the estimated arrival times at these locations, and then over to Pine Hill right around 6:15. So we're going to keep a close eye on this tornado warning, and let's see, checking that off time again. This remains in effect till what time was that, Stefano?
6:15.
6:15. All right, so we want to take a quick break away from this, but we're not going to be far away. We want to head back over to Marius and Amanda for the latest on what we're finding with all this outbreak that we've endured today.
Lisa, Spencer, thank you so much. And keep in mind, our First Alert weather team, they've been telling us about this storm since Wednesday.
Right.
They have been on top of this storm since it had started. And we want to tell you, anyone that has anyone out there driving, they can listen to us right now on WWTN. That's FM 99.7. They can have the very latest on this storm.
All right, the scope of the damage is becoming more clear as you share your pictures and videos. Lydia Fielder is on the alert desk with a look at some of that breathtaking footage. Lydia?
Yeah, so we have this radar behind me, but we're going to pull full screen some videos and pictures for you. We've been combing through as the night has gone on. This first video right here is sent to us from Sarah Brown, who lives on Longfellow Drive in Nashville. Those explosions off to the distance, possibly transformers blowing as that storm moves through the Nashville area. We want to go to another video now. We have this home is in the Clarksville area. This is a picture rather in Montgomery County. This home completely destroyed. We heard city officials say homes were flattened by this tornado. This just an example of one of those, these images coming to us tonight. And that tornado that came through, we do have a time lapse of this from a traffic camera. I mean, it just shows you the size and the scope of this thing. We have showed this video a couple different times because we know city officials say that this tornado touched down around 1:35 this afternoon. So you're watching it on a time lapse again, move through the Clarksville area. It's just so breathtaking, so scary to see that too. And then we want to go to this most recent video showing damage from the tornado that went through Springfield. We did bring you a video of that tornado moving through the Legacy Golf Course and into us by Larry out there in Springfield. Well, now that it's getting dark, this is video of just some of the damage that left behind. Of course, our reporters are all out in the field right now getting video of this, talking to folks who are experiencing all this tonight. And we do want to talk about shelters that are open tonight. So first Clarksville was reporting that Pisgah was going to be open, the elementary school in Clarksville, for a shelter for those displaced tonight. However, that elementary does not have power. So they're saying that that is going to be at Northeast High School instead.
Call them, let them know what's going on. We have a Doppler indicated tornado that is now working its way through southern Wayne County, south central Wayne County, and will soon to be crossing into points of southwest Lawrence County. Fred has got the tornado safety parameters up on the screen for us. The best place to be, of course, is a basement or storm shelter, certified safe room. If you don't have one of those, small interior room on the lowest level of your home, as far to the center of the home as possible, keeping away from windows and doors. Also, you want to protect your head from flying debris. You want to be able to cover your head. If you don't have a helmet, then I would grab maybe something from the kitchen, because science has shown that the majority of tornado deaths are from cranial injuries, okay? So you want to be able to exercise extreme precaution in this and make sure you go to the safest place possible, keeping you and your family safe. That protects your head from flying debris. Leave vehicles and mobile homes. If you are in Lawrence County, you have plenty of time of heads up for this particular storm, okay? So you can go ahead and go to that reinforced structure, maybe a neighbor's house down the street, and that's where you need to be to ride out this particular storm. All right, so that is the most important part of tornado safety. Now, looking at this was a little bit more well-defined a second ago.
No, it's more defined now.
Okay, well, here?
Right here where my cursor is, we're actually getting outbounds to show.
We got a little bit
and
of
this
that
is
there.
with base, not even storm relative.
Okay, all right, so, well, I couldn't see that because...
Yeah, it's stronger now.
Okay.
Hear the sirens here now in Lawrenceburg.
Yeah.
Yep.
EMA is setting off the tornado sirens. And so...
And we're also behind the scenes keeping an eye on the camera looking to the west into that. So if we see anything, I'll let you know. We got that on links 3.
Go ahead, and before we go to cameras, I want to do another track on this, because we do now have the tornado sirens going off. If you would hand me my phone, please, sir. Thank you.
All right, so times of arrival for this: the Highland community at 6:07, Ovilla 6:08, Deerfield 6:13, the Center community at 6:16, Henryville 6:21, the north side of Lawrenceburg. I think it's going to be just north of town, but Lawrenceburg, course of least regret. Estimated time of arrival 6:23, Etheridge 6:26, Summertown 6:28, Alexander Springs 6:29, New Prospect 6:30. Again, this is a tornado warning for eastern parts of Wayne County in Tennessee, in the northern half of Lawrence County in Tennessee. A tornado warning until 6:30 for this intensifying rotation out here near the Highland area and eastern portions of Wayne County, moving east-northeast at 40 miles an hour. It will be coming across the northern half of Lawrence County over the next 30 minutes here in Tennessee. Ovilla, Deerfield, Center, north side of Lawrenceburg, Etheridge, Alexander Springs. I think that's the main point of concern. But as far south as Pea Ridge and Lawrenceburg proper, as far north as Summertown, course of least regret, be in your safe place like Ben talked about with the safety rules. Be there until we give you the all clear tornado warning until 6:30.
Okay, all right. You are watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel now at 6:02. I'm Ben Luna in the Weather Center alongside Fred Gossage and Brian Wilson as we are tracking the potential Doppler indicated tornado that is now working its way through the east central portion of Wayne County, just to the north of the Natchez Trace. Right here is the rotation, and that's going to be on that northwest or northeast track. And what Fred said, the course of least regret, because you have those atmospheric conditions that like to twist and modify the direction of these storms. So even though we draw straight lines, doesn't mean that these storms can wibble wobble a little bit and not follow that straight line to a degree, okay? So we want you to be in your safe place, from Lawrenceburg all the way to Summertown, from the county line on the east side all the way back to the Wayne County line in Lawrence County. And then folks in the southeast or the east central portion of Wayne County, you need to be in your safe place right now, just literally a stone's throw from Ovilla. There at the Highland community, you've got the Highland Methodist Church there, you've got the fire hall, you've got the gas station out there at the Natchez Trace where all that meets. And I think that's going to be coming just smack dab right, if not on top of it, pretty daggum close to it to the south. And so, again, folks in that part of the county, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. This is where we're seeing this, near the Granny Scott Hollow area of Wayne County. And yeah, that is intensifying.
Yeah, it's very much this kind of, for lack of a better term, bookend type thing where you might have individual spots of rotation in a greater mesocyclone. This is kind of wrapping around there. So that's kind of an interesting factor when working with these types of almost embedded, in a way, type of tornadic signatures.
And you know, I'll tell you, I was watching the other day some of our old weather footage back from, I believe, 2021, the first part of 21, and that tornado on our radar looks so much like this. So very, very, very similar. We do not have confirmation of anything on the ground. Our radar is able to distinguish if we have had a tornado touchdown in certain circumstances by debris that's lofted into the atmosphere. And we're not seeing anything.
No, not at this time.
Not at this time. And also, too, this is a very rural part of Wayne County. You've got a lot of hills and hollers out through here. And so, but once you cross into this portion of Lawrence County, you're going to be running into some very, very populated parts of the region, especially Deerfield to Center and Henryville. You've got several neighborhoods just to the northwest of Lawrenceburg off Highway 64 that are going to be worth watching to see how this moves close to. And then just a lot of sporadic communities out through this portion of the county. If you are just now joining us, we are tracking a Doppler indicated tornado. We've been watching this particular cell for several minutes as it formed over portions of Hardin County. It's now moved all the way through Wayne County and is preparing to cross the Lawrence County line near the Natchez Trace. If you are watching us in the Highland area, you need to be in your safe place 10 minutes ago, okay? This is on top of you now. Ovilla, the same. Folks in Deerfield, you've got just a few minutes to prepare. Deerfield, you need to be in your safe place, as well as the center community, arriving at 6:16 and 6:19. Henryville at 6:24. Clipping Lawrenceburg potentially at 6:27 tonight. Etheridge at 6:29. Summertown at 6:31. Alexander Springs, if this storm holds together, we're going to see this be crossing Highway 43 north at around 6:32, and then arriving in the Pleasant Valley community coming up at 6:35. So again, several minutes between then and now. It is 6:06, and so plenty of time for this storm to either develop more so or fall apart. We are watching the potential for some hail as well.
Just very briefly, since we're into repeat mode now, severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for Lewis and Murray counties, no longer in effect. Storms moving into northwest Alabama. Severe thunderstorm warning still for western Lauderdale and Colbert counties. That's a gusty straight line wind threat. Severe thunderstorm warning still does not include the shoals. Just want to make sure nobody feels left out. Those warnings, they're kind of much lower end than what we have with the tornado warning, but I'll get you back to that, Ben.
Okay, all right. That gives me a chance to cycle through and just see if I've got anything. Lots of concern about Pulaski. We've not mentioned anything about Giles County, very little about Columbia. You're not under the gun from this particular storm. This is the most powerful that we are tracking at this particular time, okay? So this is why we've not mentioned those communities, especially Pulaski. Nothing going on really in Giles County to speak of. Murray County's got some storms rolling in, but as Fred said, they just dropped the warning on those. That was severe warn just a few minutes ago. You see that classic structure that is indicating still some very, very good rotation in the atmosphere rolling right into the Ovilla community. Folks, Deerfield to Ovilla, West End, Ray's Produce is out there. I'm trying to run down through my mind. You've got dollar stores. That dollar store, and I say dollar store, and you're like, which one? The one in town or the one here, 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 and here? There's like 30 of them. But no, there are. We counted the other day. And so anywhere that Fred has drawn is going to be your primary area of concern, give or take here, as that continues to roll into Lawrence County. If you are driving and watching us tonight, on Highway 64, you're about to drive right into it at the county line.
Yeah, and in terms of the velocity, I've been watching this behind the scenes, and I won't bore you with all the science jargon, but it looks like a new updraft is forming out ahead of it, and it's kind of doing this cycle, so to speak, which means the danger is still there, but it might be transitioning from one mesocyclone to another, and Fred circled it exactly right there. That's the new area of inflow. The old one is off to the north, just south of Highway 64, still in Wayne County, and we're getting this new updraft forming here. So we're kind of seeing it shape up into this more supercellular structure as compared to just a few minutes ago when it was this bookend type structure. And again, that's a bunch of science jingo, but I won't bore you with that, right? Point is, the threat's still there, south of 64, now in Lawrence County, there on the east side of the county line.
All right, so, and again, to summarize what Brian said, you've got out with the old and in with the new. Sometimes we see these storms cycle into a couple of different areas of rotation. That is not a multi-vortex tornado. That is where you have one area of rotation that kind of gives off to another within the same cell. And again, we've not had any indication of there being any damage at this point. We've not had any confirmation of anything on the ground. We are watching that very carefully. But what, well, no, kind of caught my eye there for a second.
Yeah, that was noise out ahead in the inflow area.
Yep. All right, so essentially what's happening is what was at Highland is kind of now shifting a little bit further south, and it's now coming its way back up into the Ovilla area on the south side. So kind of handing off one to the other. And so when we start to say and maybe change our tone and direction about where things are going, it's because we've seen this cycle event happen where one has now gone to the other. So with that said, we're going to include some new communities in the storm track now that's shifting a little bit further south, and I think this is going to take it closer into Lawrenceburg-Cropper and that more densely populated central portion of the county. Still at Ovilla and Deerfield at 613 and 616. The center community potentially at 620, Henryville at 626, Lawrenceburg. And I think folks in Lawrenceburg need to be very, very attentive to this storm, okay? This is one that you want to be inside, away from windows and doors, and in your safe place with, especially with this more southern track potentially, 627. Etheridge at 6:30. Still looking Alexander Springs at 6:34. Summertown about the same potentially. Pleasant Valley at 6:36. The Liberty Hill community, that's going to be out toward Top Gun and Weagleville, Tennessee at 6:39, and the same for folks in Jonestown coming up there as well. Fred, if we can, let's take a camera shot or two.
Yeah, and then we're probably going to talk about Northwest Alabama just after that.
Okay, all right, so we do have some potential spinning down in that part of our viewing area. All right, this is looking Lawrenceburg. This is the Lawrenceburg sky cam.
You're looking west-southwest or so.
All right, so we've got some lightning flashing, and so we're going to be looking for that rain-free base, anything that we see, any lowering or a potential wall cloud.
Yeah, let me pan back to the left because it looked a little lower back to the left.
Yeah, this is the co-op feed center. And so we're looking just beyond this and right in here.
Yeah, it looks like dead ahead from the camera should be right into the notch of this particular cell. So we'll see. Yeah, you can kind of see parts of the base there with that lightning. And you really need a backlit view of this, right? If the lightning's in front of it, it saturates it. So kind of got to get lucky, but you do sort of see there right in the center the beginnings of the base of this thing. And as it gets closer, of course, the vision will become a little bit clearer. But really remain, and of course, it being 6/13 in December does not help.
All right, so it takes just a second there. And again, looking at storms at night, it's nothing short of a miracle to get the exact lighting conditions for us to see what we need to see. There we go.
That was a good shot there. Yeah,
that was
right
real
around
good.
where you're pointing looks to be the main base of where this mesocyclonic signature would probably be.
Okay. All right, so this is what we're watching. We've got multiple eyes behind the scenes watching this storm. Again, remind you, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for Lawrence County, in addition to Wayne County, effective until
6:30.
Yes. We got a report from our friend Bill Phillips at the EMA. Wall cloud reported looking south from the West End Fire Hall in Lawrence County. Possible funnel forming, but spotter cannot confirm rotation due to the fact that it's dark. Wall cloud at Fish Trap Road and Kingman Road. So that's going to be central west Lawrence County, if my geography serves me correctly.
Yep. So we're looking we're looking straight at it. This warning is in effect for yet another 15 minutes. About 6:30, we'll see this warning expire. All right, so we still want folks to be in your safe place, as far away from windows and doors as possible. We do have a potential wall cloud that is formed, potential funnel, but Skywarn spotters unable to get a good view of it because of course, it being nighttime. We're continuing to watch this behind the scenes, and we'll continue to keep you updated on this storm. Let's go back to radar real quick. And
switch back to links too, and I want to get it ready to double box so we can keep radar up and keep this camera up.
All right, so we still have, right here.
Yep.
Crossing, it's literally right on top of West End Fire Hall right now. So if you're in the area of the West End Fire Department, that's where the concern is.
Yeah.
The potential rotation is located right on top of West End Fire Hall. Folks in Deerfield up to Center, and then definitely Red Hill toward Etheridge. You need to be in your safe place right now, okay? As far away from windows and doors as possible, the lowest level of your home, and keeping away from the outside due to this potentially violent cell as it comes across. Again, we don't have any confirmation of anything being on the ground at this time, but we will continue to keep you updated in how this forms.
Yeah, let's take links 1 for just a minute. Now, there's not a warning on this cell, and you can take this in the box. Yeah, Ben's pointing that out. This is a rotation we're watching here on the east side of Florence, down in Lauderdale County, right on the Tennessee River. This is just southeast of North Alabama Medical Center. I'm just pointing this out because this is near a lot of population. If this were to spin up, there wouldn't be a lot of advance warning, but we're going to be watching that moving northeastward and in the general direction of up toward Killen. If this tightens up, tornado warning might have to be issued here, so I'll do a track, and then we'll get back to Lawrence County, Tennessee in just a moment, I promise. But again, this is not a tornado warning, but it's a rotating thunderstorm we're watching. Killen time of arrival 624, Bailey Springs 625, Aqua Vista 627, Parkertown 629, Center Star 633, Elgin 635, Kingtown and Arkdale 637, Whitehead 641, Lexington 643, Rogersville 643. We'll watch it carefully. If it tries to tighten up, tornado warning could be required. That's not the case yet. So, Ben, I'll toss back to you, and we'll track Lawrence County, Tennessee.
All right, cool. All right, still no reports of any damage.
Links 2, please.
Oh,
Yep.
there we go.
I will also say, while you're looking at that, the rotation with the Lawrence County storm is definitely a bit more messy and broad at this time, but it's still there, and it could tighten up at any moment. These things like to cycle up and down again.
Well, and that's what we've seen constantly here over the past few minutes, is how these storms have been nothing, and then boom, all at once, there is something and a reason to be concerned about them. And again, that's just part of the atmosphere and the environment to which these storms are flying in tonight across the Tennessee Valley region. That's why we are fully staffed here in the Weather Center, which, by the way, this is, I guess, our first official severe weather event in our new facility. Kind of getting how things are working for us and what's working the best, and trying to figure out what's good.
All right, so Ben, while you're going over information, I'll do another storm track here.
Thank you.
Again,
I was hoping you would do that real quick.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I was just trying to organize and get things set so I can watch multiple things. Here's the latest storm track on the broad rotation coming across west central areas of Lawrence County, Tennessee. Again, this is still a tornado warning till 6:30. It's over the Deerfield area now, moving up towards center by 6:23, Henryville 6:29, Etheridge by 6:33, Alexander Springs and Summertown by 6:37, Pleasant Valley 6:40, Liberty Hills 6:42, Jonestown 6:42, Sandy Hook 6:45, and Campbellsville at 6:47. Again, not as tight as what it once was about 15 minutes ago, but there is still a broad rotation there. It could still tighten up. So if you're in these areas, pretty much Highway 64 and northward in Lawrence County, Tennessee, especially north of downtown Lawrenceburg, I think the main concern is Deerfield to the north side of north side of Lawrenceburg, south side of Etheridge, over to Pleasant Valley, and then northward up to Center, Henryville, Alexander Springs, south side of Summertown. That's the main area of concern. We're watching to see if this tightens back up. Could do so with just seconds notice. Tornado warning is in place. You need to stay in your safe place. Small room, lowest floor, such as bathroom, hallway, closet, near the center of the building, lowest floor, away from windows. No mobile homes, no vehicles. Cover your head and neck with something sturdy to protect yourself from flying debris. But that's the situation there.
All right, so I want to give you a few points of reference. Obviously, so the radar emanates right here, and you can see the little cone of silence that the radar is located at WLX in Lawrenceburg. They're next to McDonald's. This area right here, the radar actually hits part of the ridge at Crockett Park. So all of this area here is David Crockett State Park. So when you leave Crockett Park and look to the northwest, that's where you're seeing this potential rotation at, and still fairly well defined on reflectivity. I mean, we can look at it and see pretty much right where it's at as it's moving across the west central portion of Lawrence County at this point.
I want to mention something very quickly as well, because we've gotten some reports of a wall cloud down near the West Point area. The rotation is substantially north of there. It's well north of the West Point area. There is a line of thunderstorms coming into the West Point area, and a lot of people here understandably get a wall cloud confused with a shelf cloud. If you see a big wall of cloud on the entire horizon coming at you, that's not a wall cloud, even though it kind of looks like a wall. That's not why we call it a wall cloud. That's actually a shelf cloud. That's not a sign of rotation. That's a sign of rain-cooled outflow and gusty straight-line winds. A wall cloud's going to be centered with a rotation, and that's not down near West Point. That's up here near the Deerfield and the center areas, up near the Highway 64 area. So I just wanted to clarify that point because we are getting some reports of a wall cloud down near the West Point area.
All right, so yeah, not at West Point and Pea Ridge, this area of rotation still between Center and Deerfield at this point. Looks like it's trying to wobble a little bit maybe to the north, just a smidge. Brian, are you seeing what I'm seeing there? Or am I just kind of looking off?
You're kind of right there. It's kind of sort of that bookend thing again. It's going through these cycles where you have a little bit of rotation north, you have a little bit south, and it's hard to pin down exactly where in that broader mesocyclone a stronger rotation is. So it's kind of, you're kind of on the right track there. It's very much one of those broad type of things.
Okay, so we're wobble wobbling. Let's go back to reflectivity or velocity for a second, if I can get my product straight here.
And everything is just really loud and noisy and broad right now. No identifiable strong low-level rotation. There's some noise northwest of Red Hill out here, but that's not actual true rotation. That's pixel noise right there.
Yeah, so it's not as defined as it was for sure a few moments ago. Again, from this once fairly defined tornadic storm, National Weather Service in Nashville reports pretty much the same thing that we're seeing. The storm has weakened. Unless there is a recycle and it changes, then they will allow the warning to expire coming up here in about 7 or 8 minutes at 6:30. So that is something of course to be thankful for, and we still have no confirmation of there being anything on the ground or actually any damage reports. And I know we have a ton of folks who are out looking for any potential damage. And I've got a live feed to folks who are in the field watching this as well and not seeing anything that jumps off the screen as being just uber well defined at this point, and still nothing of note as far as damage is concerned.
And you know, to be honest with you, I think that little appendage that's stretching across 64 is going to be the news cycle. So that's kind of what I was talking about and what you were talking about.
Down here?
That general vicinity is kind of what I was talking about when I say it's just going through these cycles. None of them seem to have, now the danger of course is still there, the warning is still ongoing, but none of these cycles seem to have really taken a hold of the atmosphere and affirmatively put down something noticeable, and there's the tornado right there. It's just this broad area. That's why the warning box is so large, and that's why you need to respect the polygon, as our friend down in Birmingham says, James Spann. That's kind of why you need to respect these, because they can go from south to north to west to east in 5 to 10 minutes notice.
Yeah, exactly. Brian said that absolutely perfect. And so in the case of tonight, you know, the thing is kind of riding the whole cell, essentially. You've got one part that becomes active, it dies out, and then at the same time, the way atmospheric dynamics works, it wants to pick up and shift on the other side of it. So that's what we're tracking and watching very carefully for. Again, the National Weather Service indicating that unless something changes with this, they see no reason to continue the warning, which would expire promptly at 6:30. Lawrence County EMA reports they've got some hail reports, only heavy rain and wind below severe criteria from Lawrence County Sky One spotters who are actually on the field or in the field on this particular cell. And so really, I think Nashville's going to let this warning expire.
And I think that's the right decision.
Do you want to switch out and let's talk about Bama real quick?
That has actually weakened a good bit as well. We can do an overview here and do that if you'd like to.
Yep.
But yeah, the Lauderdale County storm, well, let's look at it from another angle. Let's go to...
You want to check high top? I just checked high top, and I'll switch you there on links 1. It has... Okay, you got it on links 2? Yep. It has a much better view of it, and it's actually a fairly noticeable mid-level mesocyclone. If you check storm relative, you see what I'm talking about there. It's much more noticeable there on a high top.
There you go.
Yeah, so we're going to hold it here and see what they do because the Lawrence County rotation is weakening. They're probably going to let that expire. That is not a weakening circulation. They're over the Killen area. That's right over the split where you got 43 that goes north up into Tennessee. You got 72 that goes east out toward Athens and Huntsville. That is a strong rotation, and that's now moved northeastward, so that's going to be north of Killen. That's going to be north of the police department, north of the McDonald's and the Chevron out there. Let's go a little bit tighter, Ben, and see some of our roads in our smaller communities and try to center up on the rotation itself. And let's pan down a little bit the other way. Yeah, that's going to be coming up out of the Killen area toward Antioch and Parkertown, and then up toward areas like Mitchelltown, Kingtown, up toward the Lexington area. And we're probably going to want to get ready to start watching that Lexington Skycam here in just a little bit, but not just yet. It's a little far away. But that's a pretty tight rotation, though. We're watching a few thousand feet above ground level here, so we don't have an especially low-level view of the storm, but that's still a pretty tight rotation. They are going to let the Lawrence County, Tennessee tornado warning expire at 6:30. No word yet from National Weather Service in Huntsville of if they're going to consider a warning for this or not. But as a course of least regret, I would be ready to get to your safe place here if this continues. Let's go to correlation coefficient and make sure we aren't missing anything. And it's just noise. I don't see any signs of a debris signature. I just want to make sure. So we go back to storm relative velocity, zoom out a little bit so that we can do a storm track on it. And that's even tighter. So let's take from the point, just ahead of the point of that rotation on a manual fan track, east-northeast at 40.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, we have so many storm tracking buttons on the link system. It's easy to get them mixed up like that. All right, so there you go. Yeah, that's good right there. All right, so here are some times of arrival for this potential rotation we're watching carefully. Center Star by 6:30, Elgin by 6:35, the Kingtown area 6:36, Arkdale at 6:37, Whitehead 6:40, Lexington 6:41, Grassy at 6:45, Anderson at 6:46, Bonnertown 6:48, Powell at 6:49, Cedar Grove, and then you're starting to get over here in the northwestern areas of Limestone County. Cedar Grove 6:50, Good Springs 6:53, Cairo at 6:56. Again, potential for some rotation here. We'll have to watch carefully. National Weather Service is watching it, but they're not pulling the trigger on a warning at this time. But we're going to have to watch that very carefully as that moves east-northeast to 40 miles an hour. That's going to be getting very close out here to where our associate Sam Camp lives. So Sam, if you get any pics or video of that, or if you get any reports, be sure to share that with us via our internal Discord chat and things so we can get that information. Looks like we have a tornado warning for Lauderdale County now. So new tornado warning for Lauderdale County in northwestern Alabama. This is going to go, it looks like, until 7 o'clock. It's for this rotation right here. Possible tornado just northeast of the Killen area. We were just given a storm track on that. That's that couplet right there. Northwest of the Center Star area, northeast of Killen. That's moving to the northeast about 40 miles an hour. That's going to be crossing Alabama Highway 101 between Lexington and Elgin near the Kingtown area, moving off to the northeast. Then it's going to be getting up here toward the Anderson region, not far from the Fish Krill restaurant. You know I'm a big boy. If you've watched me for a few years, I'm going to call out some restaurants as the storm gets closer to it, so you know where it is. That's Highway 207 right there. That becomes Tennessee Highway 11 once you get up in the Giles County. But that rotation is going to stay just to the north of Elgin, just to the north of Rogersville, moving up toward the north side of Center Star. Now it's north of Brooks High School, moving up toward the Kingtown area, moving toward Whitehead. But the polygon is just to the north here. I think it's a little more east-northeast than maybe what the polygon is drawn. But as far north as places like Arkdale, Lexington, Grassy, Powell, I need you in your safe place. That's a small interior room, such as a bathroom, a hallway, or a closet, near the center of the building, away from windows. You want to be out of mobile homes and out of vehicles. For those of you that may be hearing sirens in Lauderdale County, back in Florence, back in St. Florine, back in the Cloverdale area, back in Waterloo, this is way off to the east of you and moving away. This does not include that Quad City, immediate Shoals metro area. It does not include western Lauderdale County. This is for the eastern and northeastern areas of Lauderdale County. Tornado warning until 7 o'clock for this rotation here in northeast of Killen, north of Center Star, moving off to the northeast. at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. Haven't seen any damage reports with this at this time. But again, it doesn't take long at all for this to drop a tornado. So don't wait until you hear something outside. Don't wait until you see something. It's dark now. You're not going to see anything in time. If there is a tornado there, you need to be going through your safety plan now. Get in that shelter location now. Don't wait. If you're driving here along Highway 64, Alabama Highway 64, from Lexington eastward out toward the Anderson area, you don't need to do that. Stop, find a sturdy structure to get to. This is north of Highway 72. If you're driving Alabama 101, Elgin northward up toward Lexington and northward up into southern Tennessee, you need to stop here before you get out of Elgin. You need to stop in Elgin and wait for the storm to pass. And that's going to be the same. Don't take Alabama 207 north out of Rogersville up toward the Anderson area up toward the state line. Let the storm pass over the next 30 minutes. So we'll say that the rotation is just a touch broader than it was a few minutes ago, but there's still cause of concern for a tornado warning there. So tornado warning is going to continue until 7:30. For Killen proper,
I've got you the Lexington camera when you're ready.
Okay.
Looking southwest.
All right, for Green Hill proper, Killen proper, Highway 43 west. The danger from this storm is over. You can go ahead and clear. Let's go ahead and take that Lexington Skycam on the Arctic Air Skycam network. And this is looking back toward the southwest, toward that rotation. Now, we're not going to see anything, but we're going to watch to see if we see.
Actually, I'm going to throw you up on minutes 3. There we go. You got it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's looking into the general vicinity of
Okay. This is looking back to the southwest here. We're going to see if we see any rotation, anything. Well, if we see any lowering of the cloud base in amongst the lightning. We're starting to get heavy rain in here now, so we may not be able to see anything. Dew point is 67 here in eastern areas of Lauderdale County. Excuse me, temperature is 67. Dew point is 63, and wind is out of the due south, so there is cause for concern that the storm has the potential to produce a tornado. Tornado warning continues for the eastern and northeastern part of Lauderdale County and northwest Alabama until 7 o'clock. And then if you were wondering about what's going on in southern middle Tennessee, the tornado warning that had been in effect for Lawrence County, Tennessee, that has now been allowed to expire. There's no longer a tornado warning in Lawrence County, Tennessee. The only warning we have in the entire viewing area for tornado warning is eastern areas of Lauderdale County, Alabama. So we'll clear the Skycam off here, go back to radar, and look at the storm. And the rotation's a bit broad now, so we'll see if this continues to hold together or if it weakens and we get to let the warning drop. But for right now, your rotation is north of Center Star here, coming up on the Kingtown area on Alabama Highway 101. And then it's going to move up here toward the places like the south side of Lexington, the Grassy community, and the Anderson communities here over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Again, tornado warning until 7 o'clock.
Toward Alabama 101, and then you've got County Road 50 out there. If you're in Tunersville or Whitehead, this should miss you just off to the north and west, but also in Arkdale out to Lexington. This is all coming your way at the moment. Again, we've got this area of rotation that we're tracking right now. This is the reason for the tornado warning. Here is 72, like Jeff pointed out. There is Elgin, there's Killen. This is east of you in Killen. This is tracking northeast at 45 miles per hour. There's Alabama 101. Again, we're in Lauderdale County in northwest Alabama, and this is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. We haven't seen any debris with this. This is radar indicated, but tracking to the northeast. Quite a bit of lightning. Now, if this does not produce a tornado, this is the other threat here. We're going to see torrential rainfall, that dangerous lightning, but also some threats of some 60+ mile per hour winds. And this is where we could start seeing some of those power outages developing. As of last report, no power outages, but if you're in Lexington and Kingtown right now, and maybe even that Elgin area, I do encourage you to go to your safe spot now as we're tracking this dangerous storm.
Yeah, I think the big part that you bring up is you talked about Elgin, right? And it's not in the warning itself, but if you are just south of where this warned cell is, obviously there's a potential to have some damaging winds, even if you are not inside the warning itself. You don't have to be that far away from it. So let's go zoom out a little bit more. Here's the warning here. This blinking red box includes Anderson, Lexington, Leicester, and then back into Killen, just to the north and east of St. Florine. You are actually away from this storm. It's moving away from you. So in St. Florine, from this cell here from the warning, you are safe. But if you are in areas like in Lexington, you should be taking cover in your safe spot right now. And in Killen, probably the rotation is more toward your northeast right now, but keep in mind, you probably have some strong winds and some heavy rain, dangerous lightning. The tornado warning covers most of, we'll say, northeastern portions of Lauderdale County. It does not include Rogersville. This storm is off to your north and west. It is not advancing closer to you, but it is starting to move off to the north and east. Here's Leicester right here. So Leicester, now is the time to take cover for you as well. And there's Anderson, and we continue to track this storm as it moves to the north and east. And you can see some of the counties that are affected here. County Road 33, County Road 76, County Road 92. What I'm going to do, I want to zoom out and I want to show you bigger picture of what we got going on. So you have this tornado warning, and you have it in Lauderdale County. You have a severe thunderstorm warning to the north of it for our viewers into portions of Pulaski County, northern part of Pulaski County. But the extent of this line goes all the way back into Florence and then even into Mississippi and Tupelo. So there's still more storms behind this main line. This is the first tornado warning that we've had. Keep in mind, most of the Tennessee Valley has a tornado watch until 11 p.m. This is the first tornado warning that we've had so far this evening. Hopefully the last, but affecting areas in Lauderdale County. Now, if you're back towards Florence and the Shoals, this cell is moving away from you. You have rain and you have thunder and you have lightning, but it's not the cell that's warned for the tornado. That is moving away from you as we continue to track this cell moving into, probably crossing into the state line over Tennessee here shortly. And yeah, this is the cell right here. I'm going to go ahead and
And I've got a storm track for you right now. If we can pull up again, first alert 2, please. We'll get a storm track for that the tornado warning that we have right now. This is moving east of Killen. You've got 41 there. You've got Alabama 101. Again, I've got the storm track up on first alert 2. But again, tornado warning continues. It's starting to seek shelter there toward the Allen Park area, Anderson, up to Appleton. We've got a couple of other landmarks. Jeff, seems like they might be having an issue, so go ahead and just give them that closer look again, where we've got that area of rotation just east and northeast of the Killen area.
And it's right in here, so I'll go ahead and zoom in just a bit for you. And you can see this is 72 here. Here's Lexington, put it in perspective for you. I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit more so you can actually see the road. This area right here, if you are on Highway 101 where County Road 50 and Highway 101 meet, you need to be in your safe zone right now. Safe shelter as this storm continues to track to the north and east. This right here, I would think, and Eric, you can go ahead and tell me if I'm too far off, but I would say right in here is certainly the area of concern as you're working your way north of 72. Here's Highway 71. Let me zoom in a little bit closer. That's got to be some kind of road right there. Let me go ahead and move this way for you. So here's County Road 33 to put in perspective. There's Highway 101. And again, you're getting a situation where you're right at County Road 76. And this is where there's potential for rotation and a tornado as we continue to track it on first alert Doppler radar right now. And Eric, in tracking this, the storm itself continues to